Okay, so does it say you're in a Google Hangouts room? Arrington. Oh yeah, all right, yeah, you're in the room. All right, do you see me? Okay, let me try adding you.
Ok, está bien. Ok, ya, ok, perfecto. Ya, perfecto. Pero pon la cantidad de niños, no pongas, por ejemplo, 3 invitados.
All right, yeah, hold on one sec. Try going to that. If you try going back to your Yahoo and clicking that link one more time. Or your Gmail, I should say.
Sí, pero tú no me entiendes.
There you are.
Si tú,
Yes.
pero atiende un momentico.
Cool. Looks like you're in the
Sí,
chat.
pero ellos tienen que saber, pero atiéndeme, ellos tienen que saber.
Yeah. All right.
Pero atiéndeme un momento. La persona tiene que saber que es un adulto nada más invitado. Uno, no pueden ser dos, un adulto invitado. No pueden ser dos, no pueden ser tres. Un solo adulto, porque acuérdate que hay bebidas alcohólicas y las bebidas alcohólicas están contadas. Entonces, si tú atiendes, si es un acompañante de un niño, y tú no pones si son niños o adultos, tú pones 3 invitados.
Yeah, it's a little loud in here, so I'm gonna keep you on the phone. Do you see me? Cool.
¿Me entendiste? Si tú pones el festejado.
What you should do is go all the way to the left, and then you should see a pop-up come up. Hey, do you got me on speakerphone? Yeah, because I'm echoing. Yeah. Cool. So, if you go all the way to the left, something should pop up saying chat, screen share. It should be a green square with a right arrow.
Oh, okay.
Then if you hit screen share, there should be an option for your webcam.
Right. Um,
Bueno, pero tú
Yeah, I see something.
Sí, puede que no, tú lo pones. Pero para que el tipo de
Yeah, I see you a little bit.
no hay ningún problema en que tú pongas si va con un menor. Que va un adulto y un menor, o un adulto y dos menores, o un adulto y un menor. Así, no hay problema con eso. Para seguir poniendo dos invitados.
all right. So anyway,
No va.
is it good enough?
Yeah, this is good enough for now. Can you hear me just fine?
Yeah, I can hear
Yeah, there's a guy behind me. He's kind of loud.
yeah. People. Cool.
It's good.
Si lleva el niño o no lo lleva, perfecto. Si sobra, mejor.
Okay.
Pero el adulto,
So I just want to kind of let you go, like let you see like how I get my leads.
porque cubano tú sabes cómo es.
Now you have brought up VoIP broadcasting.
Un invitado, pero me llevo un adulto.
You have brought up voice broadcasting.
Yeah, the fight
Que realmente lo necesita, no lo va a tener.
Right. Hold on one second. Hold on one second.
No, pero ok. Pero tú sabes cómo son la gente en Cuba. Especificar, ponerle al tipo de papel si es un menor o no. Si son dos menores. No hay problema. Ya. Y la otra lista que sea para la maestra con nada más que con los de la una.
Dang, I'm way far away from that guy. I'm like, your phone is really echoing.
Yeah, I don't know.
De todos los que estamos en el aula.
I'm holding close.
Para que ella pase lista, por favor. Inclúyeme.
Okay, can you see my screen now?
Probably because I have my computer.
Separados.
Is that any better?
Let me see. Yeah, that's better. It's a lot quieter. Okay, can you see my screen now?
Yeah, there's a house.
Yeah, there's a house. Okay, so this is what I've been using. I know that I can probably get a lot better rates. I saw, a text blast service for like $9.99 a month. I mean, $99 a month. You send out 50,000 texts. You know, this one it's like $10 for 100 texts.
The first one was how much?
$100 a month for 50,000 texts.
Oh wow, that's a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I've been all over with text blast systems. I used to use one called Joe Crump system, and it was like 500 texts for $20. But
I
oh, you did.
We didn't do the text blast though. We did the one where you sent out the emails to Craigslist.
Oh, right. Takes a lot of emails to get a good response, though, doesn't it?
Yeah. Really does. You gotta really be on.
Right. Yeah, I've been there. I just see as I haven't done voice blasting yet. I've just done text blasting, and I feel, text blasting is the most efficient so far. I'll go into like what I've been getting. Now, I've been doing all just like lease purchase and stuff, but now you got me curious about the option to purchase. Then they recover.
That and before we got the phone, make sure I remind me to since I actually had a couple of different contracts from different sources or whatever. But it's like work with the and everyone was explaining it like, well, you just have to play. We need a piece of paper for this to be legitimate. I need to go and do my work. So it gives me the opportunity to be able to do my
Hidalgo no ha aparecido. Tampoco. Hidalgo no ha aparecido. Si yo no iba a pasar por tu casa, pues yo nada más le digo que voy a
I'm trying to take the tidbits of everything out of the other one. Yeah. But the option thing, I guess, where if you kind of got
mi correo ya. Mándame correo.
they really rather just have a sale, but you can kind of make some money, then the option thing is kind of cool way to go. I was teaching that you find your buyer. It's not like a drag out process when you kind of like, hey, he didn't got commit yet, but I'm still optimistic. You know what I'm saying? You don't really have to go through that. So,
Ya. Amparo tampoco.
All right.
So.
Entonces,
Yeah. And that just got me curious, because if we start off with, something like 50,000 tax, we can mix it up.
Yeah, no doubt.
Entonces, okay, vete.
And here's another thing. I don't know if you found out about this. Really, there's at least one or two people going through these things where when you send something, you send it like you do like a letter of intent. Like in that letter of intent, you essentially have three offers someone. With a smaller discount. You know what I'm saying? And I wonder if you come across that or you know anyone who's anything like that. It seems like it was a pretty shrewd way to do it. Like if someone does look at it and like, if they have an idea in their head of what the lease purchase is or any one of those particular offers, they may want to go with one of the other ones. I don't know. I haven't tried it, so I don't know, but I was.
Uno vas a buscar a lo que dices tú, que es un león.
Yeah, let me
De círculo entero.
show you something real quick.
Okay.
Is that the VA property data?
Pero tú no me dijiste sí, oiga, tú me dijiste ahí mismo en La Habana, pero estaba lejos.
Yeah, because I'll bring something similar to what you're talking about.
Oh, that would be great. I talked to Andres, and he's taking a long time to oh, yeah.
Ya. No hay fotos de él. No hay fotos de él. No hay fotos de él. Ok, bueno, ya déjalo así entonces.
What happened?
Bueno, ya olvídate. Bueno, ya olvídala.
What was that?
Now, something just came to me, but I was like, I don't want to get to it.
Entonces son 6 ramos de flores.
What came to you?
Regalos también, por eso yo necesitaba saber.
What came to your brain?
Un hombre,
No, I don't.
para un hombre. Ya, entonces son 6 mujeres, 6 mujeres. Luego de ramo de flores y un presente. Dime.
I just remember how those
Tú no me pusiste insulina en los números. ¿Sí? Ok, yo voy a revisar el correo que tú me escribiste.
Yeah.
To that list. But what these guys were doing, another mailing to that list. And there's these services called APN or whatever. Advertising. That list
Otra cosa que te quería preguntar.
there you can find out where those phone numbers are going to find out you program goes out like so you don't have to call these people. Those are the entrances you call.
Wow. So you would get a list of like divorces, right?
Yeah, like whenever time you motivate they you know that well you have another service that takes that list and gets you the actual cell phone number of the email. And
No joke.
that you can buy that. I'm not going to hire on those services because so it's like when I started doing every client I was out, I would get
Really? So what does this service charge for? Giving you the phone numbers. Well, you said that. Which service gives you the phone numbers?
oh the data find a couple. It's called data. All that. But
So you wouldn't have to purchase the list per se, or would you, to bring it in?
yeah, because ultimately you'd have to have like a list for them to then cross-reference to get the phone numbers and
Okay, so you'd have to buy the list first. I guess the
like this source or whatever one of those.
I still think that would be better than mailing because you're calling someone directly. You're getting them on the phone.
Well, yeah.
No hay problema si no, ¿cómo no se va a quedar?
Actually,
¿Cómo no se va a quedar? Ya con esta última foto que tú me des y si aparece en otra, perfecto.
Damn, that's pretty hot.
No quiere mandar nada.
That's actually pretty hot.
Yeah.
No quiere mandar nada, se va a quedar.
Yeah, that's hot. Yeah.
Yeah, it's hot because like Slide Out doesn't like. I think I spent $10 with them, and I had quite a bit. I still have, I think on my account, I still have calls to go out, so they're not expensive for that part. I don't know what the data pen.
Yeah, because the hardest thing is getting these motivated sellers on the phone. Get them to call you, so if you can call them.
And some of them are curious, like, damn, why my phone didn't ring? And it's like, yeah. So, you got a house, huh? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Pero de todas maneras la vas a ver y la vas a sentir porque ella te va a mandar una cosa que no y eso es de ella. Estoy esperando que me llegue. No es para ti, es para todo el mundo. Porque tiene que ser para ti, se lo voy a decir a tu mujer. Estás pensando que se te está mandando cosas. Sí, voy a mandar una cosa para todos. Okay, de los últimos que falta, de los no nada, yo nada más que lo más importante para mí es que se localice a la gente.
I almost wish I spoke Spanish right now. I'm like, dude, seems like you really got something to say.
Yeah. If you look at my screen, it's somewhat similar to what you were saying. You know, the main goal is to get the agreement to buy, try and get the price the seller will agree to now, and get the agreement. Negotiating final price or terms can be done once you have a funder interested in the agreement to buy. But where they got these questions. Okay, hold up. Because they got these questions. Personal preference. They got these questions, you know, like would you accept monthly payment? You know, are you free and clear? So that, you know, they ask, would you accept monthly payments to, you know, offer a lease purchase? Because the way that they do this training is that, you know, the creative deals are still the low-hanging fruit.
So they're still below
the low-hanging fruit.
Oh, okay.
You know, because they explain vividly. They're like, you know, we don't force the creative terms down the seller's throat. So that lets me know is that even though it's a hot market, things are selling. Is that, you know, getting the lease purchase, you know, option is just it's still a lot easier to deal with. Yeah, that's what I was going to show you. Can't find it right now, but they would. This is the React system right here. This is the John Ionati system.
Okay.
You know, this is John right there. Yeah, so I bought this system last year.
Was there a particular reason why you like started to focus on these purchases as opposed to like the React stuff?
Well, you know, I was just back in Wisconsin, and I was going after React deals, but a lot of sellers were just really rigid back in Wisconsin. You know what I mean? Like, you'd walk in their house and they'd be like, "Hey, who are you? What do you do?" It's a very conservative state.
Okay.
Like, they're doing background checks, and then he talked to my attorney. I don't know how it is where you're living at.
Maybe not quite that conservative, no.
They're not that conservative?
I don't think so. No, I've never heard that one. I mean, I don't know. That's interesting because you know, I'm always told that if you have a seller who's taking that kind of position, they're not motivated, which in that you just kind of like, you know, you just, I mean, if you really want to deal, then you put up with everything. Well, diamonds. Okay, so you want references, and you want this. I give you all that, and you know, what are you ready to do? Like basically, trying to say, if I go through the trouble to throw this together, are we still doing a deal, or are you just trying to get me to throw all this up just, you know, just waste time? You know? So, you know, I hadn't heard about the background. I hadn't heard you about it having to submit to a background.
Ok,
Yeah.
esos son los
Well,
tres.
they don't exactly want you to do a background check, but they want like references and stuff like that. But like, yeah, so most of the time the sellers are just like, they don't want to send it. So, I guess it depends on what type of seller you go for. If you're going towards more of a higher end house, or but doing the React system, you had to really go after the high end houses, because working with them, they said you have to have $100,000 above the median price of the area. So you had to go after high end houses. But those people would be like, "Oh, we want an attorney." Attorney look at the paperwork.
Now, that's kind of a valid point here. Anybody have right time? Yeah. Answers for you on that about how you kind of maneuver around that situation, or not?
Yeah, they say, "Oh well, your attorney has questions. Well, have him contact my attorney."
Okay.
Yeah, and just Wisconsin in general. It was hard. I never got an attorney that was wanting to work with me, because they were all, just residential buy and sell.
Okay.
That was every attorney.
Yeah.
But down here in Florida, there's a lot of attorneys geared towards investors.
Yeah. So we love Florida. I just that's like the land anyway.
Right, it is.
Honestly, 90% of the people I've been looking at or bought something from, they came out of Florida. So, yeah, that's interesting. But that's pretty. I mean, yeah, things are, I guess, a little more lax here. I imagine it would be the same thing if I were. It's just that our median price here is just higher in general, so it's about 500,000 or 600,000, something like that. It's maybe 6 and change. So ours is just barely high. But I imagine if I started to move closer up to the $1 million point, that getting, well, hey, we want to know that you're this and you're that, blah blah blah. But yeah, so far, gotten a lot of competition on that. But as you move out, as you move out of the metropolitan area, stuff starts to drop. So I think people are less, posturing to well, hey, we want to see this and we want to see that, and they're more like, oh, these are going to put a deal together, at least that was my experience. People I have contacted that were down in the area, because I was doing, when I started trying to do the options deals, definitely going outside of the city. I was 30, 35 miles south of here. So, I guess part some of the people in the military and that kind of stuff. Whatever.
Right. So no one ever gave you any hassle of signing a contract?
Well, see, that's the thing. With the option stuff, I didn't really I don't know, I think I mentioned to you yesterday, I was running around, trying to get some stuff together, but the legwork that I was put, the guy was like, well, if you put in a certain amount of if you go see a certain amount of houses, somebody's gonna say yes, right? But it's just, for me at that time, I couldn't make that work, because I did everything else up to, to get them on the phone using the slide dial, blah blah blah. And then I had to book an appointment, you get an appointment, and then you gotta go out and just, talk to them. So it's there was no filtering. There's not when you're doing things virtually, you're on the phone, you're doing all the heavy lifting on the phone. So if there's no deal to be had or whatever, you didn't have to like, you know, take precious time out of your day to go and look at something that you know going to buy or, you know what I mean, all that kind of stuff. So that was kind of my hang up. Um, and, you know, to each his own, I guess, but that was my issue. So I didn't, I just left it, I kind of left it alone. I said, I may come back to it or figure out a way that I could actually get some sort of motivation or do it in a way like how some of the other investors talk about pre-qualifying over the phone. Because this guy's thing, he was just like really, I mean, I don't know. He's just really laid back, like San Diego, California dude. It's like, hey man, just give him a call. And you know, the script was like 2 sentences or something, like, hey, I'm an investor, I'm going to see your property, you know, and then you go see it, and then whenever you're sitting in you walking through someone's house, and he's like, you know, don't try to, you know, just he was just like, just be present with them, which is cool, right? But like, you know, I did it a couple times, and it's just kind of like, you know, like, so do I go in for some, you know, some real questions? Because he's like, just, you know, fill the people out and let them feel comfortable with you and all this, and then after that, then you know, you call them back to go for a second appointment, which I did to actually make the offer. And then that's when you take that cost to sell sheet, which basically itemizes everything that they would spend if they were trying to sell their house, and show them that, give them an idea as to how you would manage it. And usually the price that you're supposed to try to get it for from higher. So that's your selling point, right? But you know, when I get it, the couple was like, okay, cool, thank you, everything. But I felt like I was in the dark because I didn't really know what was going on with them necessarily. You know, like I didn't really have that I would have wanted to have prior to even going to see the house. To know whether or not, you know, this would have been not that good of a deal for them or whatever. You know, and then the other guy, you know, after seeing his property and everything like that, I find out that he kind of, what he owed on it, it was a bit tight to do maybe the option deal. So you know, I kind of threw out there doing a lease purchase to him. And, you know, he was kind of okay about it, but he's like, well, he'd get back to me because he didn't know if he was going to be going to Iraq or somewhere in the States for his next assignment. So, you know, that nothing really materialized, but it was just, I just feel like there was something missing in the initial stages for, you know, trying to elicit what someone's motivation is and whether or not you can really put something together. But I liked everything else about the system. You know, everything else was pretty cool, how they had it, the way you get paid, and the systems were actually getting it sold. All that stuff seems really good.
Okay. Yeah. You know, the main thing is if we can get them under contract without little hassle.
Oh yeah, I mean, no doubt, you know. Quite frankly, like the texting that was going, I don't know if there's a way to really capitalize on that, and then do some sort of you know, free training over the phone. I think that would probably really do. I know you're working virtually, so what I had thought about was so if we're able to put something together, even for the option deals or for the local churches, in terms of getting paid faster, I was like, if I needed to like basically meet some real estate agents who you would normally get to sell the house, just show them the Basically, I would do the basically set up the marketing. So they would have to just show up at the house for Saturday or Sunday, or maybe Saturday or Sunday for like 1 to 4 or whatever. Because that's what these other guys are doing. They would show up 1 to 4 Saturday, Sunday, and invite people in, have them come through. They can grab the packets of information or whatever, leave a bid, all that kind of thing. That seems like something that you can have the agent do. Even if for lease purchases, if you just had that done like for one day, it may work. You may not need the full 2 days, but I'm thinking that could be great because turn your field around faster. Especially for the lease purchases. There's yeah, I don't know. I just don't work well that way. There was one other guy, Dr. Something he was doing. It's kind of for the lease purchase, for instead of it being about the price of the house, an event for down payment. We would start with a low down payment and have people essentially bid it up. And once you got like the top 3 people, start going through the other particulars to see who you want to go in the house and all that kind of stuff. And at that point, you've got a really great buyer side. You have all these people on the top end who are really serious about a house. They actually, how much money they have. You have all this information on them. So, you could essentially be with the other guy who's talking about go and take that risk. Send out some homes and offer some or whatever in the neighborhood and put together a deal that, buy. So, yeah. So anyway, but yeah, I'd be cool with doing the legwork for, especially if it's within here or maybe 40, 45 minutes out or whatever. That's the issue. So yeah.
Oh yeah, I had talked to some agents last night. Talked to one of them on the phone today. And I'll let them know about the purchases and stuff. Oh, it was interesting because she was like, "Oh well, in today's market, the houses are rising in value." And she's like, "Well, why does somebody would want to do a lease purchase?" And I'm like, "Well, some people are at absentee university, some people job location, and some people are upside down."
Yeah.
It's strategy that people consider actually made for radio for agents.
Say again?
For agents.
I'm sorry, what about the agent?
Yeah.
No, I missed what you were saying about the agent.
I made videos for agents.
Oh, you mean to like instruct them?
Yeah, how it works and how they can make money and how they have a buyer for these persons. How the buyer can expand their business, put the strategy in their business. What about using an agent for retail?
You mean for the options, like if you want to just flat out do a resale?
Yeah.
I think the only thing that I could imagine that you would have to address is if you have agents doing that, I guess you just have to get somebody on board who would understand that a discount will be required in these cases. Just with the marketing, we're doing the heavy lifting. They're just basically manning the and from there, I mean, it's pretty cool. I mean, you have some people now after they finally buy, they do donation transactions. You know what I mean? I even met a lady who does it independently. And, you know, you pay $500 for the basic. She babysit people getting fired. And I'm not saying that like, for a lot of the options when I was trying to get the last one I was trying to do, there was about so I would have made $100,000. House was 300. So that was a 5% discount that I was essentially getting for trying to get it for 2.5. So if I have to pay it, you know what I mean? Like that's it gets tricky, you know, with that part. That's hard. You had somebody who we could work with like that fee, very getting deals. I need someone, I need a 2 days, see everything. I get your flat fee or whatever. That's what I was looking for. Purchase. But I was like, well, maybe I should go get leasing, right? Because they're already getting a piece of the security deposit. Which isn't necessarily a huge chunk of change, but they're doing volume maybe. So if I had like someone who's leasing, they would fall right in line because you know I put whatever money that you know, it was for here.
Yeah, definitely. They have buyers for both.
Say again.
It's good they used to have buyers for both.
You said they would have buyers for buyers.
For both.
Oh yeah, well, yeah.
Did they ever tell you how an agent would make the money off retail?
You ever told me?
Did they ever told you how to make money by bringing the agent into the deal versus resale?
For which kind of deal?
For resale.
No, not that I can think of. I mean, for any deals that I've been a part of where I was selling, I didn't have to pay anything. So, you know, unless it was just a standard rehab, it was like, you know, yeah. So yeah. But I mean, do you know how it's done?
For bringing the agent?
Yeah, for retail. If you've got, I mean, like, you know, I'm assuming we're talking about like if you're doing an option deal, you get something at a small discount, and then you're going to resell it. Like, I'm not sure how you would bring an agent into that. Hello?
Here?
Yeah. What'd you say?
Yeah, so I guess like you put your you get it under contract for say you know 410. Let's say it's appraised at 450. Let's say you put your $10,000 fee in, so now you're all the way in at 420. Then you have an agent come in, and you have to put their 3% in, and that's how they get their commission.
Oh, well, so okay, so provided that there's room for that 3% to come in.
Exactly.
Okay, I got you. So that last deal that I was trying to get done, the option deal, right? So I ran a ton of comps, right? And I went through the market with 5 and 2 comp. It looks like what the houses would sell for, what that house would sell for at that moment was 300,000. I think. So, like I said, I was trying to get it at 285. They they were they were looking at spending about 25,000. So they would have netted like 275 without my offer. If they would just get it on their own the way they were doing it. So that was basically a 5% difference. You know what I'm saying? So, but if somehow the bidding would have gone beyond $50,000, yeah, I could definitely see getting an agent. I mean, and to be quite frank with you, I mean, I don't have an issue with cutting somebody in on the team as well. I just, you know, it wasn't being taught that way, and it wasn't on my radar, and I just, you know, so I didn't even think about it that way. But I mean, if you're talking about doing stuff virtually, then I mean, something like that, you gotta cut hiring sales. Yeah.
Right.
That guy Jason, that's what he actually had. He just ran a Craigslist for sales. Do all the labor, like putting the signs out, doing a light stage on the house, and package out, setting the table, setting the all that kind of stuff. Doing that. But yeah,
Spanish one is definitely way easier than Spanish two, so. If you don't understand Spanish one, you're just doing different tests. And so you don't know it.
My question was to her, so how do you know what male is female? I said, no. You are a female. I'm a male because I have. I said, how old are the chairs? I said, yes.
Well, I mean, not always, but a lot of times they just sort of, I mean,
Yeah, that's what I needed some distinction and silver. That's what I was yes. Saying balance. Yeah, there's some that's not understandable. Just I get that wrong. I just needed some kind of answer. All I said to you, I don't get it. And then what we're all super lost in, they just completely carried on this full conversation in Spanish in front of us. I'm like, did I tell you about the owners? We always have issues about those breaks in the school. You hear what I'm saying? They still everything. So, I mean, I got 2 years of
What?
But I mean, she's got a red. Yes.
really.
That was the last one. I got you. No. Oh, it's coming out. I'm sweet, right? All right. And I'm not that way. Thank you, Mary. Sweet. Strawberry burger. It's really honest. Yeah.
Hola señorita, ¿cómo está? ¿La molesto? Lo único que necesitaba de ti es que me vuelvas a recordar cómo se llama la ciudad donde tú vives. Petersburg. Es como burger de hamburguesa, ¿verdad? Bueno,
Oh yeah, that's it.
pero termina en R.
Yeah, yeah. Well, one second. Looks like I got a little fire right now, so.
No tengo nada.
Okay.
So,
So,
ya lo tengo. Petersburg.
Ah,
Ah.
yeah, you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay, cool. I just got the just found
Ya.
the script the guy was using. I dial.
Oh, really?
Ya, Saint.
Yeah, see, it's like, I mean, it's super simple, but I just feel like I feel like it wasn't
No tapa. Ok, ya.
qualifying enough. Like, so his thing, he's just trying to get in the door, right? So his script read like this, and this is the one I used to. It says, "Hi, my name is Eli. I'm Jude. I saw your house on Zillow, and I was calling to see if it's still available. If it is, please call me back at this number, or if it's sold, just text me the word sold, and I won't call you again. Oh, in case you were wondering, I'm not a realtor. I'm looking to buy a house. Thanks. We'll talk soon." So that was the script, right? That pops up in all these people's voice now, right?
Right.
It's cool, but I kind of like the guy that's kind of like there's this guy Charles Blair. He's kind of like out of Baltimore, Maryland, and he was using it like this. Like he would go on Craigslist, and he would like when he sees a number or whatever, he would just leave something that says, "Call about your property, and such or whatever. If you're willing to be a little flexible on price or terms, give me a call back and such stuff." You know what I mean? So I feel like I don't know. Maybe that seems like a little better to me in the sense where if someone's calling you back, they may be open to playing ball as opposed to the way I was doing it, where you're just trying to get someone on the phone to go see their house, and you have no idea whether or not you're gonna be able to, what I mean, put a deal together of any kind. So. Right. You see where I'm coming from? It's kind of like, like I'm trying to be, if I'm gonna do this thing, I want to be efficient with time. It's like,
Yeah, 100%. 110%. I mean, you got all the right tools. It's just about sticking with the system and working it every day.
yeah, and like I said, that's where I was falling off. Just the consistency of it all.
Yeah, you'll find out like the kind of system that I have. Just work steps every day. You'll never run out of leads. It's just about sticking to it, and even if you don't feel like it, you make sure that you do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So here's just some deals that I've done. Okay, where to start?
Sí, que no se rompa tan fácil, o sea, que no sea tan barato. Ajá, cosas así, exacto. Y como son 6 nada más. Wow. Entonces ahora me voy a meter. Ya. Sí, el jueguito. Ajá, exacto, cositas así. Ahora me voy a meter, ahorita me voy a meter en internet.
You see my screen?
Looks like some emails, like your email or something. Now it's.
Yeah, I'm on my email.
Okay.
Come on.
No, esa es su set. Más para detrás de la mesa.
So are you focusing on a particular market, or you just kind of just?
Yeah, I mean, I'm all over Florida. The thing is, a lot of people, man, they, especially for lease purchases, I mean, you pretty much go wherever you want.
Yeah.
It's the options that you're probably gonna have to be more personal with. I could be wrong. But yeah, I'm all over the Florida market. Okay, here's some deals I did last year. There's Madison right here. There's no mortgage. Yeah, there's a possibility to consider a lease option. We have some people come to the property, asking price 569. It's negotiable.
So they went online somewhere and filled out this information on your site or something like that?
Nah, just that. Yeah, I was using a VA.
Oh, okay, okay.
So the VA was writing the property information sheets. Here's another one. Yes, there's a possibility to consider a lease option. This is all just a day's work too.
Okay.
Send somebody, send the VA to make the calls, and he'd bring back all the answers in a day. Here's a perfect one. House here in Madison. House is free and clear. Yeah, we can consider a lease option. So I was having that conversation with the woman, the agent today, and she was just like, "Oh well, houses are selling fast. Why would someone consider a lease option?" It's just, if I send out a text blast, I send out 100, I'm at least going to get 3 to 5 yes answers.
Yeah.
So here's another deal I did in Wisconsin, where I'm from. So 4-bedroom, 2.5 bath, 3,000 square feet.
You know what's interesting about what you're doing? You're getting a 3 to 5%. Actually, that's higher than that, because that's not. You're getting a higher response rate, but you got 3 to 5% who are saying yes, right?
Yeah.
And you're not spending the money. You're not spending money for a list.
No, just the text.
Yeah, yeah. So that's freaking amazing. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's absolutely you. Wow.
Yeah, I had a mentor, Joe Bodak. And he would say, if I send out 1,000 postcards, I usually get a deal. And that's where John was talking in the REACT system. I told you he spends $1,500 to make $150,000.
Yeah.
Well, you look on here, Zillow. He goes like this, okay, to get a list of motivated people, inherited, absentee, free and clear, how much you're going to have to spend, but yet you can go right here on Zillow. Here's my hometown, Appleton, Wisconsin. And you can get, 42 leads for free, essentially.
Yeah.
I pay somebody. I got this girl that'll scrape 1,000 houses for $5.
Off of Zillow?
Off of anywhere.
Oh wow. 1,000 for how many bucks?
$5.
Yo, that's amazing.
Yeah, I had somebody that was doing 100 for $5. Now I just found this girl yesterday.
And would you just have that sent to the VA or something?
What was that?
Would you just have those great names sent to the VA to call, or do you just send out some sort of broadcast to them?
Yeah, I'm kind of gonna stay away from the VA because it costs me like $35, $40 for them to call 100.
Okay.
So you could definitely save money. Like I said, doing the $100 for 50,000 texts, or doing the voice broadcasting.
Okay.
You definitely save money from a VA. You can still get the same type of response.
Sweet. So,
Yeah, I don't remember.
how would you want to work together? I mean, you clearly have a system here. You got any suggestions on like how you wanna, or did you wanna like do a thing where I pay you something and show me? I don't know. Like what were you thinking?
Yeah, yeah. Hold on one sec. I'll just show you something real quick. Is that oh fuck these people. Uh, okay, yeah. Oh, there it is, right there. Easy texting. I'm just trying to show you one more thing quick. You see that right there?
Yeah,
$99 a month, $50,000, 50,000 texts.
yeah, that's sweet.
Still free, yep. So where I'm at with it, you know, if you pay me, it'd be one thing, but at the same time, it's like, to really leverage a whole system, working with more than one person, there's obviously more money to be made because one person can't handle all these leads by himself. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah, I got you.
I mean, what are you thinking?
I mean, like I said, I'm kind of, I'm open. Whichever way you want to go. I didn't know what you had in mind initially. Because I kind of just reached out to you like, hey, you don't react. You kind of mentioned something about partnering. So I was like, cool. But yeah, I mean, if it's just a matter of trying to break down the leads and get it done or whatever, that's cool too. I mean, I'm kind of flexible because I don't really have, like, I'm not coming into this with a preconceived idea of how it needs to be, If anything, I just want to plug into something that I can do, and like, especially like what you got going on, it's far more efficient than anything I've found out. So I could do this and kind of until I can wean myself off of what I'm currently doing, if you know what I mean. Or what have you. So yeah, I'm kind of game.
No, eso no hay problema, por eso no hay problema, el micrófono está ahí, la banqueta se puede buscar. Pero yo tenía pensado que me podías hacer algo para mí. Es decir, niño adulto, no sé,
with getting this many texts,
no tan de payaso,
we could definitely, just
es lo que
hit
necesitaba.
a lot of markets, just hit a lot of things, whether it's the options, lease purchase, or even some wholesale deals. Because you got so many texts. I wish I would have had this last year.
Entonces me gustaría hacerle algo ahí
Because where I'd be right now.
No sé, que hay participación con ellos.
Got it now, and that's
Porque
what I'm like the
cantantes tengo,
system.
ya los cantantes
So,
yo tengo cantantes profesionales.
Yeah, we should definitely work together
So, que
and
más cante, no, porque más
I can give you more of a breakdown on
just step by step on how to convert the leads, how to close them, where my need, and just sticking to a script every day. Because if you stick to the script, you're going to get close.
Ah, ok, pero no se puede llevar más de 30 minutos.
Okay.
Ok,
Um,
está bien, está bien, pero piensa que me gustaría que hubiera alguna relación con el...
matter of me trying to figure out the
el correo. Está bien, ok, mijo, yo te lo pongo. Yo te voy a mandar un mensaje de texto a tu teléfono.
here. Lately, what I've been doing on the week anyway,
Cuídate.
I'll wrap up about 12,
Chao, chao, chao. Bye-bye.
and I'll take a couple hours, and I'll go back. What I gotta do. I've been in grinding a lot. Things back up some money, so gotta make that change. Yeah, I mean, what thoughts do you have on
Well, yeah, definitely. I think right now what I can do is just kind of come up with a budget. Like we spoke about. Just what we're willing to spend. What do we spend? What's going to convert? And what's a plan of attack every day? That we can both utilize and come to the table at the end of the day and see where we're at. Almost just like a projection for the day, and then what do we expect for the rest of the week, and what do we expect for the rest of the month. Definitely, I'm gonna for the text blasting. I definitely want to get the 50,000 a month, hands down, because you're not going to get a cheaper rate than that. And text blast, they're the relatively best response rate. Voice blast is cool too, but I really like the text blast. What we'll be doing is, when we get property sold up, I've actually already started the process of educating the agents on how they can help us. We can help them, whether it's for lease purchase or the retail. So some of those text blasts are going to be sending to agents and saying, hey, because on my website I actually have a spot for the agents, but it's password protected. So this is how you really get the agents on deck, because so many agents are worried about competition. So this is where you play a little psychology. You text blast the agents and say, hey, I saw your information on Zillow. I was really impressed with your reviews. I definitely want to add you to my secret page on my website to let you know how you can benefit off of the strategy you got going on right now. And that link will be password protected. So when you give them the password, they're thinking, oh, well, no one else really knows about that. And that's where you get the agents on that. And then I have explaining lease purchases and then the retail deals. So, once the leads are pretty effortless. That's like you explained. People send out how many postcards to get one deal, and we can essentially find out if we got a deal that same day. You send them postcards, you got to wait 2-3 weeks to find out. We can find out in a matter of minutes. So it took me a long time to come up with this strategy, this program, and everything, but now it's pretty cemented. So I guess if you could just kind of email me
just like your schedule, like when you're open. I know you said you wrap things up around 12, but would you be more? If you get up at 12, would you be apt to maybe go back like at I don't know, like 9 or 8 or something?
You mean go back to work at 9 or 8?
Yeah, if that's what you do.
Oh, um, so because usually, so with what I'm doing, man, is in the morning, right? Rush hour. So particularly starting from like 4 throughout the week. So I'm not kind of this is you have to bear with me here because this is kind of I'm kind of in a situation for a while. I've been really figuring out how to make this transition, and I just hadn't had any, you know, I had I have a system in place or whatever. So definitely came trying to figure out how to do this transition. Once I get a deal or two on my belt, definitely I will go part time. But I know for this week I've been working like a mad dog and things I've been playing and all that kind of stuff. Well, after that, I'm going to try to start to get some other things in. But as far as learning, just like I'm assuming if I get like an hour and a half a week for that, would that be sufficient to get up to speed so that that following week when I'm ready to have more time in and whatever I could pick up the ball and get running, or what do you think?
Yeah, I think based on your situation, what I could do probably right now, like I said, is I could leave the trainings to you, so you can watch them when you can. And I think it would probably be important in the next few days, to definitely start chipping away at the budget we do got. Definitely start definitely getting the 50,000 text messages. Get the VA to be able to scrape. And I had an OnCare website. It was like $40, and that's how I was getting a lot of tenant buyer leads. That's an option, but we got the agents. But I think maybe just in a few days we go ahead and utilize that, and then I'll do recordings when sellers call, and then I can go ahead and shoot you those recordings so you can just watch how the process goes, and you can start learning, and then we get you a deal or two, and then you're able to put more back into this.
Okay. All right, that sounds great. Well, quick, I'll let you, since you kind of got the system going. I'll let you determine what the budget is going to be. What my contribution is, and I can get that to you and everything. From there. You got us something.
Good, yeah. I found out that yesterday because I thought I might have had a cheaper way to cut costs. But I ended up screwing the whole day over yesterday because when you get the things that offer cheap or free services, there's going to be some type of catch there.
Yeah.
So You're absolutely right. So, what are you free next?
It's like Friday, tomorrow, Saturday. I work 9. I'll probably take the same time, same 12 o'clock time off. So I usually do like 12 to 2, and then I'll go back and I'll work until about 8 o'clock, 7, 8 o'clock, depending upon how well I'll get them after the day. Um, yeah. So, and then Sundays, the earlier part of Sunday, then you kind of take collective stuff and get myself together. And then I'll work like 12 to 4. And then like that. Help stuff or whatever. But, yeah, so that's pretty much how I've been doing it so far. But depending upon how this system's going, and I'm okay with making it rigid about it. Just been on a grind.
Yeah, just stacking money, huh?
Say again.
Just stacking money up, huh?
Yeah. I mean, the way they got this thing set up, the only way you can make real money is doing a certain amount of trips. Then you kind of qualify for all of the bonuses and everything. So it's like it's not until I started doing that I started seeing enough money for it to actually be worth my time. So each week you gotta do a certain amount of trips to be able to really qualify to make some decent money. So that's kind of what I've been with it.
Right. Yeah, that's this guy in Arizona that we talked to is he was saying like they had a bonus, 1 month, and how many trips you made, determine your pay. And he made $15,000 a month, and then they switched the compensation plan to where it was just hard to make any real money.
Yeah. I mean, now I kind of. So now they have it so you do 95 trips a week and you qualify for hourly guarantee, right? So most of the week I've been $40 an hour down to like 25 in the middle of the day when it's slow, and then 40 in the evenings after 4 to like 11 or whatever. So it's just, it's not a bunch of money, but it's been enough to kind of, pull stuff aside to kind of get myself straight and everything like that. Knowing full well that I'm trying to transition into something else. This isn't the sort of thing you can kind of settle into and say, that's going to be useful or whatever. They can switch over where, you're at the mercy of whatever they come up with. It's not really, I mean, you work for yourself. I'm like, nah, I'm in the contract.
Man, that's just it with any job, man. My brother's been working in a factory for like 7 years. He's making like $20-some an hour. He had a house. Then he still has his house and everything, but they just recently switched him to, a part of the factory to where he's making $17 an hour. That's quite a slash from 22 to 17.
Yeah, it is. That matters. Especially when you've been living to 22, because that's one of the things that I promised myself I wouldn't do is I wouldn't spend what I made. I don't. Outside of what you had, everything's pretty modest. Past that, trying to go out and stuff, impress people and all that crap. So I'm pretty frugal right now. If it's not about health or something to benefit me, I'm not really spending the money, so it's cool.
Right. Yeah. How old are you, Eli?
I'm an old man now, man. I'm 42.
42?
Yeah, man.
So, I mean, at this stage of the game, you're just like, you know, I mean, you want your time back, really.
Yeah. How old are you?
26.
Yeah. You know, the first probably I got involved in, I think I was 24. And like I said, we didn't have a clue what we were doing, but it was easy to do deals. So you could flip something without having have any funds and the mortgage company would just put money on the table. And you didn't have to have seasoning on title and all that kind of stuff. So we were just like reckless, man, just buying stuff and wilding out, you know. And I got a wake up call and all came crashing down, and you know, I licked my wounds for a while, and then I kind of got back into doing some stuff. I went down to Richmond, stuff down there with rehabs, and that was okay. We made a little bit of money, but I mean, I didn't know what the hell I was doing as far as doing these contractors. It wasn't as successful as I wanted it to be. And since I've been back up here, I met up with a guy, did a couple of rehabs and stuff like that. Nothing major. And now I'm here now, and I'm trying, but I'm looking to get back into the game. Right now, I see that having a system where you can do something with volume is possible. Trying to find that one big deal and power through that. And, you know, in my opinion, the best desirable way to do it. Some people like it. I have a couple of friends still who they get one rehab and deal with that, and all the ups and downs, and the net price of the contractors, and all that. And they finally get it sold and take their money and does the next deal. And I don't know. I don't like. I fit well with me. You know, it's each his own, but I like what you do.
Hey, yeah, definitely. Definitely. Yeah, man, I mean, I wonder if you could go ahead and send me that. Do you have a one page for that option?
I think that one of them in my document should be one page. If not, it may be two pages. That the part where they sign and it goes into a second page or something. But I had a couple of different. I was just gonna attach whatever I found to you, and you could take a look at it and see. Because what I did was when I was really, researching the whole option thing, I was finding different stuff from different people. So I started like trying to pull phrases from, a verbiage from different contracts to try to make a really good solid one. But like I said, at the end of the day, I think keeping it really simple, where the seller doesn't feel intimidated, is probably the way to go. I mean, you say option and they're like, oh, we need a lawyer. But if you're like, hey, I got this piece of paperwork that allows us to do what we need to do to get this thing still done, and it's one page, pretty simple, then even have you heard of Claude Diamond?
Yeah.
So what he was talking about that he does for these deals too sometimes is he'll send an email from I think it's Bomb or one of those guys that does a video email. So in that video email, it's just basically an explanation for the line, the contract. So if you got one page, it's really simple. If you had in that email video of you saying, hey, this is blah, then I think the likelihood of it getting signed quicker and back to you is probably higher because, that's after you've gotten off the phone with them or whatever, there's still, you can always go back to that email and like, okay, this is, and they can feel more comfortable signing it as opposed to not having explanation for, with the paperwork. And I always was saying paperwork because they're like contract, they contract intimidating or whatever.
Yeah, I've been finding out the older I get, it's not exactly it's not what you say, it's what you convey.
Yeah.
Just saying, just saying one thing or leaving out details or putting too much details can be a deal breaker. It's crazy how much I don't know. It's just crazy how much people put emphasis on words.
Yeah. I'm learning slowly myself too because coming up in school, I'm smart. It's like gotta use these words and you gotta know keep it simple.
Yeah, that's true. Very true. Yeah, because I've done a deal actually. Well, I didn't actually close it because I ended up moving here to Florida. But I got a deal under contract in Mississippi, and it had like $40,000 worth of equity in it. It's just by talking with the seller. She signed a contract, never met me, and I just talked to her on the phone. So, I mean, I got the skills to get anything under contract in any state, any city. It would just be a process like, can you get? I guess you can. It'd be with the option contract, just getting it recorded. Can you get an option recorded virtually?
That's a good question. So now I know you have the people who will come out like when you sell on a house, right? Now they have the people who will come out to you and do the paperwork. That means local notaries. So I don't know if you got something with them to run the paper down to the whatever municipality you're working out of and have it recorded. Yeah, but I mean, right, and I'm going to tell you too, it's like, if it's cool with you, then like for the stuff that I do, if you wanted to like focus on like this Maryland or Virginia area where I could actually physically go to, then starting out like if I don't mind doing some of that legwork. Just
Yeah, hold on. Kind of cutting out right there. Hold on a second. Hello?
yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, hold on a second. Hello?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Say it one more time.
So I was saying like if you're doing blast in the Maryland area, particularly anything that's like 40, 45 minutes out, right? So if you're hitting some areas where it looks like like there's some deals there, excuse me. I mean, I don't mind like, especially for the option stuff. Like, I don't mind going out and having to do some of the footwork to make it work. Where I can anyway. Especially with the agents, because like if I can do a face to face after you've already talking to or I've already spoken with them, then maybe that may help to really cement the relationship so that we can really get some things done with them. I have no problems with going places and doing that, because then once that's in place, it's in place. I mean, you can funnel more deals through to these people, and so I'm cool with that. I mean, I actually like the idea of that just because it's a little bit mobile in the sense where I don't have to be in the same area. Because once I get off the road from doing this kind of work, then I'm going to want to move around a little bit. You know what I mean? If that makes any sense. Just throwing it out there. I don't mind doing that. When I moved to Richmond, I did the same thing. I went out and different realtors, closing attorneys, contractors, on some relationships. Some of them worked well, some of them I didn't bother with, but I was cool with that.
Definitely. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So what city are you in exactly?
So I'm actually in DC, Washington, DC. So I'm in the middle of Virginia and Maryland, essentially. So,
Okay.
you know what I mean? So that's what I'm saying. Like, I could kind of got stuff for Virginia, Maryland that, would be better suited for, like, maybe me physically going out to maybe talk to some people. I'm cool with that. At least to initially set up relationships or whatever. I'm fine with that. Not that we have to, because obviously you've got the person phone. But just kind of put it out there. Yeah, so just put it out there.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
Like I said, especially after this next week or so, I'll should been a little more freed up to really get things going. But yeah, I definitely need to grind it out for this week and next week. But after that, I'll be cutting back. So, or here's the other thing too. Like, so when I'm out working, right? When I'm out driving, and let's say a hot deal comes through or whatever, something you need me to kind of jump on. If you send me a text or whatever, I can usually wrap up what I'm doing. If I have someone in the car, assuming we're not going like an hour out or whatever, most of my rides are 5, 10, 15 minutes. Some of them are longer, but after that ride, I can then cut my system off and then I can go and jump on whatever needs to be taken care of, if it's, priority or whatever. It's just, the text would just, will give me a heads up and just understand that if I am maybe 20, 30 minutes out from the house or whatever the case, or whatever, I need to get somewhere else, and, that's the lead time I need, but, I'm not necessarily totally locked into this job in that sense.
Oh, definitely. I think the best thing to do right now is even if because we can take it a step further. If you want to kind of get out of the job earlier, job quicker, what you could do is just set your maximum budget on like the best you can do, and then I can also just structure, just getting how we convert the maximum budget that you got to get the fastest deals.
Okay.
Just in an email, just break me your schedule, your maximum budget, just your availability times, when you think you can be off for a time to talk, and just the option contracts as well. And then I can respond back to you the same day today on just, what's the best course of action to go.
Okay. Cool. I'll do that. Budget, contracts, schedule. All right. That's cool. But as far as budget goes, like I really, like I almost hesitate to say what my budget is, just because I know I have to spend some money, right? And I don't know. I don't necessarily have an idea of all of what you're looking at. But what I was thinking is that, like, if you tell me, for how you have it set up, what you'd like to do, I can just be like, yeah, okay, I can do this, or or just what I can do for whatever number you come up with. But I mean, I realize that it's got to cost something. You know what I mean? Like, so I'm not trying to come at it the cheap way, but I don't really like have a figure in mind necessarily. But like if you say, well, hey, this is what we're looking at. These are the numbers. This is what I recommend for you to get this thing going sooner than later. And then I'll just have to, figure out how to come up with that money or whatever. Even like I said, if I got to go harder out here to save it up for a couple of months or whatever the case may be, then that's what I'll do. You know what I mean? It's got to be done. So.
Yeah, definitely. And the main thing is, with the text blasting, that's only going to be like one time fee, for the month.
Okay.
So, that's like $50 a piece right there. So that's going to be like the main heading of our business. And then
It's going to be main what?
that's going to be like the main head right there.
Okay.
And then just an idea, that VA that I have, then I'll scrape 1,000 leads, so 1,000 times 50 equals to 50,000.
Okay.
So that's $25 right there. So understand, like, we're not, for $35 for VA, $5 for 100, I got three deals off of that.
Yeah.
So just imagine what I told you so far. You can need to. But then, we'll just, like I said, I'll just come up with the best course of action and just wait for your email, and then we'll go from there.
Okay. Good deal.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited.
I honestly, even before you were contacting me, I was like, I gotta make the transition, free up more time. Because I spend a lot of time on the road, making work. So it's like, there was just doing that, just grinding. I was like, I know there's a better way. I've had enough of a taste of this to know that it's there. So just having that system is things. Yeah.
Yeah, that's just it. That's just it. Always for dollars, man. It sucks.
Yeah. And I commend you too, man, for how you're going at this thing, And I don't want to come off like because I'm older than you or whatever, but I didn't have this kind of maturity at your age. You know what I'm saying? So kudos,
Yeah, I appreciate it, man.
I have respect. And I was out here and I was making some money, but I was wrecking.
A lot of women, huh? Yeah, man. I've been there, man. I was in the Army, and I came back from Iraq, and I had the money, and and I had a lot of women, got in a lot of trouble, and the more older you get, the more you realize that it's not about, the fast cars and the flashy clothes and stuff like that. It's about just having a quality of life.
Yeah, man. I still got milk. I gotta let it go, right?
What was that?
I said the milk is spilled, so I have to let it go, man. It's just,
Yeah. The best way to let it go is to take strong actions forward to the future.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, that's the guy you're on the phone with, man. Kent. He's on the freeway. He actually got his Cadillac truck stolen.
Oh wow.
From a guy he thought he trusted. He paid $20,000 cash for it. The guy stole it from him and sold it on their own, and he'll see the guy around town every once in a while and want to do stuff to him, and he's like, man, I got all these deals, I got cash flow coming in, so I can kiss all that goodbye if I go attack with you. So, and sometimes it's hard to bear the past, but it's the best thing for the future.
No doubt, no doubt. All right, man. So here's the moving forward. I'll get that email over to you, and I'll wait to hear back. And we'll take it from there.
Hey, sounds good, man.
All right, bro. Take care.
Jared, you want to do some dishes? What's the point of that?
Unless I wanted to do the awful ones.
Sit that up on a seat.
Yes, I would, yeah.
Okay, are you doing a scratch?
I thought I